all for electing Art. I know he would appreciate it. He's probably up there looking down right now. And thank you, Lana, for the nice words you said about him. Congratulations to the inductees in the Honor Society. I have to brag a little bit. I was in the Honor Society. I also want to take this opportunity to introduce my special guest. Art's sister Janet Hogshead flew up from Florida to be here tonight to honor her dear brother. And also, Stephanie Anderson is here, who was with hospice and took care of Art for a couple years. And we've remained very good friends. Still see each other when we can. She's very busy. And I don't know what I was going to say, but I do remember a little story that's always stuck with me. There was a man walking along the beach, and he saw a little boy throwing little fish back into the ocean that had been washed up by the tide. And this man said, "That's not going to do very much good. There's hundreds of fish laying here." And the little boy threw in the one that he was holding, and he said, "It does that one some good." So I guess the motto is, let's try and do good for somebody as often as we can. And I'm sure Art would feel the same way. So thank you very much.
Nice.
And my son Tom and oldest son Tom, I have three wonderful sons. My oldest son Tom is here, and his wonderful wife Chris. And I think Tom's going to say a couple words.
I didn't know I was going to say anything until about 5 minutes before we left the house to come here. Mom said, "Can you tell a funny story about your dad?" And those of you out there who knew him know that there are no other kinds of stories about my dad. But he was a funny guy. But I Ron mentioned that Dad had been at Normandy on D-Day. And if you young people don't know what that was like, I suggest you watch the movie Saving Private Ryan. And the first 20 minutes of that is what that was like. And Dad was there for that. But in about 1965, I believe it was, Mom and Dad's older sister, Helen, were planning to take a trip to Europe. And they were saying, "Well, Art, why don't you want to come?" And he said, "Well, I just don't. I've been to Europe." And Mom said, "Well, it'll be really easy. We'll fly to London, and then we'll take a boat across to France." And he said, "You realize the last time I took a boat from England to France, I got off the boat and people started shooting at me." There's another, well, I won't tell the story about Snake Eyes Dugan, but it was his girlfriend while he was here at AL also. But Mom was afraid she might be out there, so I can't. As Mom mentioned, she was in the Honor Society when she was at AL, and Dad was not. He majored in fun, I think. And I think he would find it highly ironic to be in this company tonight of all of these people who have actually done something in high school. But I don't know where he learned it, but his reason for living, it seemed like service to the community just came naturally to him. I mean, he was president of Rotary, which raised money and gave scholarships to Council Bluffs students to go to college. He was on the Garner Township School Board, and he was on that board solely for the purpose of merging this antiquated rural district with the Council Bluffs schools because he wanted all kids to have the opportunity to go to this terrific school system. He was president of the American Field Service, which sponsored foreign students to come here and sent AL and TJ students to other countries such as Brazil and Germany and France to study for a year. And he was also on the Council Bluffs Water Board, so if you have good water pressure at your house, you can thank him for that. But I think, thinking back on what he never would talk about his war experiences. All he would ever say about it is that it was terrible and that he never wanted me or my brothers to have to go. And when the time came for us to be of draft age during the Vietnam War, he did everything he could think of to keep us out of it, because he just said nobody should have to do that. But I think what he learned in his own war service is that every day is a gift, and nothing ever seemed to bother him, and everything to him was an opportunity to do something good. And that's what I really remember about him. Thanks so much for listening.